It's time for Tubi Tuesday. All right. Tubi Tuesday, we are looking at something very special to me. It's a movie from many years, I guess. It was filmed in 1988, released in 1990 shortly, and it was released again in 1992. But Tubi says it 1997, which is really weird. And you can tell this is 80s, though. The movie is called A Gnome Named Gnorm, a.k.a. Upworld. But A Gnome Named Gnorm is a movie I watched on the Disney Channel back in the mid-90s. And I remember it being on, they advertised it. I'm like, oh, I want to see this. This looks cool. The way the gnome looks. But I never saw it on there again. Never saw it again. Never found it anywhere. Until I found it last night on the Tubi. It was directed by Stan Winston, who also directed Pumpkinhead. Yes. And you can tell the effects are done by him as well, because Gnorm, the gnome, he is a very good puppet character. Very well done. You can tell it's Stan Winston at his best. The only problem I have is it's the only animatronic effect. It's the only real big effect in this film. Like, this is no horror movie by any means. It's a family picture. Sort of. Family picture where a guy gets a hook up his ass. Dude gets stripped naked. Norm bites a guy in the ass. Yeah, it's a PG film, though. Family picture. This was 80s PG, 90s PG, whatever. The story with this film is there's a cop named, or detective, whatever, named Gallagher. Casey Gallagher, played by Anthony Michael Hall, who is doing this undercover operation, where he's supposed to exchange cash for diamonds. You know, it's a cop thing. He gets knocked unconscious, and this ends up blowing the whole thing, where he gets taken off the case. But there was a witness to things that happened, a gnome named Gnorm, who is after something called a lumen, which he needs for his people. So, Casey and Gnorm team up together because Gnorm has hints as to who is behind this. You think, giant, no eyes, someone wearing sunglasses. And then scream, explosion. So, yes. Cast in this is actually pretty fun. Anthony Michael Hall, like I said, he plays Casey Gallagher, the main character of the detective character. And we have Jerry Orbach playing Captain Stan Walton. Walton? Yeah. Good night, John Boy. But here's the funny part. The guy who is supposedly the main bad guy, his name is Zadar. His henchman is played by his henchman Reggie is played by Robert Zadar. Isn't that weird? Norm himself is an animatronic puppet, but is voiced by Yakko Warner himself, Rob Paulson. And as soon as he starts, I'm like, is that Rob Paulson? And I looked it up. Yeah, he's controlled by a bunch of people because it's a puppet, but yeah. And like I said, the creature effect is really good. It's Stan Winston, so of course it's going to look good. I mean, talking about the guy who brought freaking Pumpkinhead to life. Of course it's going to look good. But, but yeah, so yeah, they're on a case. Uh, so yeah, this is what. Oh, and there's Mark Herlick plays the kind of a rival cop to Casey. His name is Kaminsky, and if you don't know who Mark Herlick is, he played Topanga's dad in the last season of Boy Meets World. She had 3 different actors. Peter Tork from the Monkees, Michael McKean in one episode, and then for the remainder of for all of season 7, it was Mark Herlick. So, yeah, I saw him. I'm like, hey, that's Topanga's dad from the last season of Boy Meets World. So that's interesting. And apparently, the actress who played Sam, Casey's partner, is on 911. I never watched that show. I know more about Law and Order than I do that, but. And at first, when I saw this, I'm like, is Jerry Orbach just playing Lenny Briscoe here? And yes, and no. At first, it seems like he's just playing Lenny Briscoe from Law and Order, but then there's a twist and things go in another direction. So, yes, we see this gnome burrowing up to the service to the up world, as he calls it. Here's your fake title drop. Alternate title drop, whatever. We see Casey, he's a laid back guy, and if you want a character like this, Anthony Michael Hall is perfect. He's perfect for this role. He's a laid back guy. He doesn't like to use his gun. He keeps it in a drawer, and he's supposed to take it out. And they say, this is something I want to point out. They say it's not loaded, but you can see bullets in the gun. It's like it's not loaded, but like there's bullets in there. So yes, it is loaded. But at least I saw bullets, and so they go out there, and he's goofing around, and he gets knocked out. And then someone comes up and hands this guy that's supposed to do the job with a briefcase, and it explodes. But Norm sees the whole thing, and Casey Gallagher, he finds the lumen, which is the crystal rock that's supposed to be powered up by the sun. So my question to you, Norm, is if you were going to crawl up to get the sun to power that up, why do it at night? If you needed the sun to power that thing up, why climb up at night? I don't know. But yes, and stuff goes down, and Casey takes the blame, even though I don't find out later why he gets all the blame put on him. But if you're knocked out by someone, there's really nothing you can do. You're knocked out. You can't, it's not really your fault anymore. You get knocked out, it's out of your hands. Like he slipped on the carousel and fell down, or whatever it was, the merry-go-round, and fell down. No, he just got hit in the back of the head. Someone hit him. You could easily just say, oh, someone was on to us. That's why they hit him. But no, oh, you screwed up this time, Gallagher. He didn't do anything. He got knocked out. That could happen to anyone. Put Kaminsky out there, he would have gotten knocked out. There's really no one at fault. But of course, he's taken off the case. We'll find out later why, but he goes home, and he's attacked by Gnorm. Well, we don't know it's Gnorm yet. You don't find out that he's a gnome until halfway through the film. A gnome named Gnorm. Because he says it like that. And I get that because it's a G in front of it. Gnome, Gnorm. But then he's like, the G is silent. No, it's Gnat. Okay. That's supposed to be funny, but no form of knot is ever. It'd be Knot. Because tie a knot starts with K. Knot. He says he's a warrior. He's not a warrior. He's a tunneler. But he needs the lumen back because it helps his people. I guess I don't know if he really fully explains it. To protect his people, or it helps people need it. So they go on an investigation together. But he makes a because he's like, oh, you're troll, not troll, or elf, not elf, not elf. You have a running joke. He like glass doors, like big glass doors, be like sliding doors and stuff like that. Apparently, he just thinks he can walk through them, and he does it multiple times in this film. It's funny the first couple of times, and then it's just like it would be funny if it just happens once, but he hits the thing, falls down, gets up, does it again. Falls down, gets up, does it again. I'm like, okay, you don't gotta keep on doing it here, but you know. So he calls Sam the next morning, says he has a witness, but he doesn't show himself to her. You know, he kind of hides behind her and stuff. So they go on their own little operation. They follow Reggie, who's played by Robert Starr, because he was supposed to be the one that was there, you know. Follows him. He's the one that made the call, I guess. Follows him to this place, and then we get to this, like, Gnorm is disguised as a baby or something, and he's like, oh, you got a kid, I love kids, and I'm like, you're an idiot. What kind of kid is this? It looks like Alf in a baby suit. Alf with a bonnet on its head. What? Oh, coochie. And like, what? And, yeah, so Zadar. You know, Reggie goes to beat up. Eventually makes a phone call to his boss, which Gnorm memorizes the numbers, I guess, but. And afterwards, like, oh, what do I do with him? And ice him. And so he's got him hanging in the ice room anyway, but he's going to kill him. So Gnorm decides to go, I know what you did last summer on Reggie's ass, and take a hook and shoves it straight up his ass. This is PG. He takes it just right up his ass. He kills the motherfucker. He's got to be dead. We don't see him in the rest of the film. They're going to open that, go back there and find a dead guy with a big chin and a hook in his ass and be like, holy shit. Yeah, so they call the number back and they get the address and they find Zadar in his office and he's got the lumen. And so he's like, I want lumen. Is this the guy? Because he at first he's like giant, no eyes, and so when like no eyes, and we realized it was sunglasses. But he's like, is this the guy? Is this the guy? Screams. So he screams, and he lies and says it's him because he knows he has the lumen. But he gets knocked out of the. Well, he does get arrested before, not arrested, but found by the cops after the whole Reggie thing. Sam and Kaminsky find him, and he's like, he's like, oh, you're in big trouble now, Gallagher. I'm gonna eat a Zagnut and get fat, even though I don't get fat. But like, so they get into the hotel, wherever it is, where Zadar is, and they confront him, and Zadar gets shot from outside of the window, and he falls down out the window, still holding Gnorm, but Gnorm is able to hold on to the side of the building, and Zadar falls down. He's dead. But we follow the gun back, and we find out it's dun 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 Stan. Jerry Orbach. Yep, he is the bad guy all along. And it gets kind of weird after this, because, like, they don't react to Gnorm. Like, the two kind of split up because the cops are coming in. He's able to escape, go through, but runs through the door, into the door again, where he's found by Stan, who doesn't bat an eye to this weird creature laying in front of him. Instead, takes the lumen and has him arrested. Same thing with Gallagher. They're both arrested. They're put in the paddy wagon. Woo! Taken in. And they're going to have Gnome processed. They try to do his fingerprints, and he ends up getting Kaminsky's hands all dirty. They try to take his picture. He turns his head every time, moves out of the way. So it doesn't work. And then Kaminsky orders him to strip him naked. They try to take the blood sample, but it keeps breaking on his skin because he's got tough skin. Because it says earlier, because if they find out about you, they're going to cut you open. They're going to cut your skin open. He's like, tough skin, tough. Doesn't matter. They're going to find a way to open it. And so you see skin tough, that he says to strip him. And they do the gag. They're strip him. They have him stand on a table. He's naked. And Sam walks in and she's like, and they linger on him just standing there. They don't show it, obviously, but different time. There was a car chase, wasn't there? There was a car chase at one point, too, I forgot to mention. I think it was earlier in the film. It has to be, because from this point on, he's in jail until towards the end. But yeah, there is a car chase, and I'm surprised people haven't tried to get this movie canceled. Not that anyone knows it, but like, when Casey apprehends a vehicle, he takes it from a black guy, an African American, and it ends up being a funeral procession, which is kind of funny. But, yeah. So they're both arrested, taken in, and Norm is stripped naked, but, basically Stan is still trying to hide who he is, but not really to Norm. Norm isn't there. And Sam comes in, he goes, she goes, I gotta talk to you. Because he gave her the gun and says it was Gallagher's gun. It was Casey's gun. She knows Casey, right? So she has examined. She takes him out. And Kaminsky is left with Norm. Now, we are shown that Norm can make people fall asleep by just going, they fall asleep. He's done it to Michael Hall twice in this movie so far. He does it to Kaminsky, while Sam is is telling Stan, this is the gun. This is definitely the gun that shot Zadar, but she doesn't believe that Gallagher could do it. He never uses his gun, and I don't think he ever uses his gun once in this. He uses it as like a blunt instrument instead of shooting someone. But yeah, so she doesn't believe it. And when they go back into the office, Norm has stripped Kaminsky down. He's naked, basically. And he's like, he wakes, Kaminsky, huh? Huh? Whoa. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Sam does the, because then she uses that as an advantage later, because she goes to see Casey, and and Norm drills a hole up, because he gets out, as they're trying to find him. He's going underneath the freaking, I don't know why I don't catch on to the fact that all these boards are underneath the ground. They saw him go under the ground, but he drills a hole, and he rescues Casey while Sam is distracting Zagnut Boy. And apparently they're going to go on a date, but he's left there to eat Zagnuts because she never comes back. But they realize that there's no way that Stan could have gotten the money. It was brought there that he couldn't have done it that night because they were all there. So the money has to still be at the park. So he tells Sam to stay behind, and he and Norm go in. Norm is at one place, looking around or whatever, and Casey he figures out that the case of money was put under the merry-go-round. So then, as he's grabbing it, I'm like, he's gonna get caught. And he grabs it, and all of a sudden, yep, there's Stan, and he reveals that he's gonna take it. He's gonna go to Mexico, and he's gonna fake his death, so he can live forever with that money. And So we're supposed to believe his motive is just to, because he wanted the money. That's why he turned. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird motive. Just like, oh, I wanted that money, so I became a bad guy. You know? Yeah, I want that money. I became a bad guy. I'm sick of being a good guy. Law and Order for 25 years. I want to be the good guy. Like, he hadn't been in Law and Order that long. I don't think he even was in Law and Order yet. But he said he was on the force for 25 years. But I'm like, what, Law and Order for 25 years? That show went 20 years. But 20 years? But yeah, so Gnorm comes in. Oh yeah, I forgot. Gnorm bites a dude on the ass at one point too. Yeah, I mentioned that. But like, he comes in, he gets shot, and you think, oh no! But he's skin tough, and he's just fine. The bullet gets flattened, and they knock out Stan. So he's gonna go to jail now, and Gnorm is gonna go back down with the rest of the Gnomes. They charge the Lumen with the sun the next morning. And he says a goodbye, and he has this weird, creepy kiss with Sam. And then he goes back down under the hole there. I should also mention that it seems that Norm may be a little horny. Because there's a scene where he's staring at a woman's, tits. They're covered, of course. They're in she's in like a bikini or like one of those revealing tank top things. And he goes, oh, big pawpaws. And then he sees like a woman bend over. He's like, nice roundy. I'm just like, what? This is PG. It's a kid's movie? What? I don't know. But, yeah. He's got a girl down there named Rena that he's doing this for to prove he's a warrior. And at the end, after all this, he's like, I'm warrior now. Says goodbye, and then the last shot is of Kaminsky eating Zagnut while still waiting for Sam. So, yeah, I thought it was a fun little movie. Nice trip down memory lane. I only seen this once when I was a kid on Disney Channel, and when that's back when Disney Channel played other movies and Disney movies on their channel. They still do that sometimes, like Despicable Me and stuff, but it's mostly Disney stuff. But yeah, I'd say when it comes to a gnome named Gnorm, I'd say it was pretty good. So what are your thoughts on a gnome named Gnorm? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.